Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. When you find a day in the field that you could get a whole show out of, as a producer, you smile, and we're smiling right now. We're going to go back to the Susquehanna River, right across from the town of Towanda, Northeast Bradford School District, biology classes learning about everything. The Susquehanna River Basin Commission was there. Aaron Henning represents them. And the Bradford County Conservation District was there. Dan Rhodes is their spokesman.
My name's Aaron Henning. I'm a fisheries biologist with the Susquehanna River Basin Commission. Right here we're doing a electrofishing demonstration for Northeast Bradford School District. Today I'm here doing boat electrofishing. So if you can see in the background or later on, there'll be footage of us using our electrofishing boat. It's one of the methods we use to capture and assess fish populations in the Susquehanna Basin.
So people walk up here and they see jars with all kinds of fish. We got the reaction of ooh or oh my God. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So those are specimens we keep from our teaching collection, and it's kind of migrated into an educational collection now. So that's very common in fisheries science, is to preserve voucher specimens is what we call them. So we have a historical record of what fish was where when. So a lot of times scientists will go back and look at museum collections to determine new species a lot of times, to split species, or even for an example, with the smallmouth bass health issues that were going on in the early 2000s. I was working at Penn State for the Fish Museum there, and they had pulled the Fish Commission requested a bunch of our smallmouth bass samples so they could look at any historical incidences of the anomalies that were showing up in the early 2000s. Right. So that's one example of why you would keep voucher specimens. They're also good for learning fish identification too. So when it's alive and flopping around, it's a lot more difficult to learn than when it's sitting completely still and you can put it under a microscope.
But it is pretty cool when you electroshock those, you bring them in, these kids get to handle them, they get to see it up close.
Absolutely. So this is a good opportunity for kids to see fish that they otherwise wouldn't get to see. We're pulling out little minnows, darters, juvenile fish that you wouldn't typically catch with rod and reel, stuff that you aren't going to see. So it's great to see kids get to expose themselves to different life stages of fish, as well as a different variety of fish species that aren't the common game fish that you're going to see.
Can I hold one?
Sure. So here is a white sucker. It's a sucker, so it eats off the bottom. Compare that with, this is a red breast sunfish. So he's got a terminal mouth, so he'd be eating, fish out of the water, fish or macros out of the water column. There's a bluegill sunfish, so he's got spines. You're certainly welcome to hold him. Real common, real taller. I guess you guys have one in your tank, I heard, at school. And then this guy.
Oh, look at that one. That one's so cool looking.
So that's a little juvenile rock bass. So here's one of the nicer ones. It's maybe a 16-inch smallmouth bass.
Oh, that is cool. I want to get a picture.
Sure.
Thank you.
You want to get a picture with him? And then here's a big white sucker. So like that one that I pulled out before. Yep. You get a good idea of how he can eat off the bottom with that mouth. Just you go swim along and just suck anything off there you want. You might want to hold him. Yep.
Look at it. Oh, that's so cool.
And so here's his baby brother, same species.
Oh, it's the same.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, it's so slimy.
So the Susquehanna River Basin Commission, you've got a program, you had mentioned it, Eels in the Classroom.
Yes.
First of all, how successful has that program been, and do you expect it to keep growing?
I do. I kind of started as an experiment a few years ago just to see if eels could handle living in a classroom and if students would enjoy it. And it started with just 2, and now we're up to over 40 potential participants. All schools within Pennsylvania and the Susquehanna River Basin. It's basically to complement the American Eel restoration that's going on in the Susquehanna Basin through the relicensing of the hydroelectric plants on the lower basin. We came to an agreement with their owners to basically trap and transport American eels for a very long time into the future to try and restore them, because they used to be here before the dams were. Much like American shad, they need free access to the upstream habitat.
Dan Rhodes is with the Bradford County Conservation District, and he raised eels as part of the program and brought them along to be released.
American eels, believe it or not, they're a keystone species for the Susquehanna River and most of our freshwater tributaries because they actually are really fundamentally critical to the reproduction of and survival of freshwater mussels. Most people don't know what either eels or mussels really are because both of those two are hard to find because freshwater mussels, they're filter feeding animals.
Okay.
Kind of like a clam or an oyster, and they're so important because they actually clean up our waterways. American eels are the main reproductive host for the freshwater mussels.
No kidding.
Yeah, the mussels, they put up a lure in the water, they're on the bottom, they put up a lure to trick the eels into coming over and investigating, and then they spray their larvae onto the gills of the eel. And it doesn't kill the eel swims away, the larvae will attach there and they'll just get nutrients from the eel, and then when they're ready they'll drop off to form a new freshwater mussel bed.
Talk about a relationship, huh?
Yeah.
So eels hard to there are no eels in Pennsylvania to speak of, right?
They're around, but they're very hard to find.
Sure.
Mostly because they can't migrate anymore.
Right. So they're a catadromous fish, correct?
Yeah.
So they spend their whole adult life up here and then go to the ocean.
Yep.
So we stopped that with the dams.
Yep.
So we're working on all of that, but you're reintroducing these.
Yep.
Why?
Well, I mean, for a few different reasons. Number one, I mean, they're an extremely valuable fish. There used to be a commercial eel fishery here in Bradford County and pretty much everywhere in Pennsylvania. You can see remnants from Google Earth. You can even find remnants of eel weirs, Native American ones. So the history of the eel as a very important commercial fish for culinary reasons is really well established. But also, like I was saying, you know, the presence of the eels in every section of the river really can enable the reintroduction or the reestablishment of the mussels and then many other fish species that maybe are struggling that used to be here. So it's a domino effect. So this is the biggest one. Whoa, it's like impossible to hold it. There he goes. Right to the bottom. Poor eel. What do you mean poor eel? He's he's going to live a good life in the river now.
If anybody wants more information on the Eels in the Classroom program.
Yes, go to our website, srbc.net. We have a American Eels page specifically, and within that there's a Eels in the Classroom page where you can put in your contact information, and that'll send an email directly to me.
What a wealth of knowledge, all of those guys. In fact, all of the booths that were set up had something to do with water quality or learning and educating kids about the importance of water quality. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to show you a device that's really cool and how you could use it underwater.